Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. Continuing our conversations with the candidates who are running in the November elections from the city of Aztec. Jeff Blackburn is here. He is running for Aztec City Commission from District, let me find it here, 4. Jeff, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Glad to be back again and have a chat with you.
Glad you're here. That's right. And so you are the current city manager in Aztec.
That's correct.
You will be leaving that position sometime around the election or when have you, and you will be then free to, if you win this election, be sworn in as city commissioner.
That's correct. The election is on November 4th.
Right.
Remember to get out and vote. And then my contract ends on November 14th. And commissioners then will be sworn in a special session first week of January.
Okay. And so a lot of folks may be asking, if you're leaving as city manager, why are you running for city commission?
You know what? I believe so much in Aztec, Scott. I've invested 18 years of my life. I've never cared so much about something. Our community is beautiful. It's poised for controlled growth that will help us to improve and make the city better for all that will visit and live there. There's just no better place in the country to live. It's the best town in the world.
And prior to becoming city manager, you had also worked with the city in other capacities too, right? Remind us about that.
Yeah, that's correct. My story is kind of interesting. I started in the second lowest paying position that the city offers. I worked my way through the Parks Department all the way to the Parks Director. And then I came to a point where I wanted to continue pushing my comfort zone and contributing to the city. Applied for city manager. Didn't think I'd had a chance, but they gave me a shot, and I think I've done a good job in the last 3 years.
And during that time, what have you learned? What are some of the things that you feel you've learned from that job that will help you as a commissioner?
You know, I've learned that the city has to have some kind of controlled growth program. We've got to improve infrastructure. We've got to make sure that our water is secure, and then we need to make sure we've got our personnel in order, and then organized at the core from the commission level down. That we need to work on policy, and that is the commissioner's role, is to work on policy. We need to go through our policies. A lot of it is cookie cutter that's been put in place, and as manager, I've seen many times where we have policy that we're not aware of or we're not following, and the commission's job is to be informed about policy and direct the city manager down to the employees through policy and policy making.
Got you. And how much of that do you think is up to the staff, I guess, to remind the commission as to what the policy is, and if maybe we're not following it or need to maybe skew things a little bit to start following it?
Yeah, I think in a healthy organization you have communication, right? You should have communication from your citizens to your commission. Then your commission should be working on a strategic plan developed through policy, developed through the input of the community. Then they should be relaying that to the manager, and that should be laid out very black and white, but not a static document. It can be living and changed as you go.
Sure.
So the way that the commission can control what's happening through policy and through strategic planning is to be at least somewhat united or healthy enough to have hard conversations and come up with, either through a vote or consensus, what the manager needs to do. Then he can relay that down to his directors, who can relay it to his supervisors, down to the employees who also need an input as well, because they're out there in the field and they're actually putting it in action.
Sure, understood. And when you say kind of managed growth, I think is that the term that you use?
That's the term I like.
What does that sound? What does that look like, I guess, for folks who live in Aztec? Does that mean a lot more residential, a lot more businesses, a lot more industrial, or a little bit of both, or all three?
Well, if we can attract all three, that'd be great. To quantify it, I think if we could do 10 houses, new homes a year, and infill on the ones that we have, and then also take care of the ones that are kind of in a blight situation and rework those areas. That would be a good point for residential. I've been working with our community development director. We're bringing in a Tractor Supply. That's going to be a great cornerstone business, and I think what Tractor Supply is going to prove is that Aztec has more traffic than most people think, most studies show, and I think that's going to bring in some other larger chains, and then when we do that, I think that spurs the smaller growth of the community, the smaller businesses, and then our infrastructure is number one. Aztec, is 135 years old, and most of the town is right in the same footprint. And maybe in the 40s or 50s, we had a time there when we went back and we did some infrastructure improvement, but we've got to continue that. It's got to be annually. It's got to be done. If you just let that go a little bit, which I believe we have over the years, then you're kind of spoiling for trouble, right? Because we can't grow if we can't handle the water, if we can't handle the sewer, if we can't handle the power. And I've got many projects in place with my directors that I'm just not willing to give up because we're ready to do it. And we're getting funding. I've brought in over 12 million. We had about 17 million when I got involved, and we're up to about 30 million in the last 3 years in grants from the state feds. To
help pay for some of these things you're talking about, I guess, right?
Right, and this grant that we've already got, this grant money we've already got, has helped us be very financially stable in Aztec because that's offset a lot of costs, right? And we've taken full advantage of the programs that have been offered over the last administrations from 16 till now, and so we're primed with a good amount of money in the coffers to go out and find more grant money, and or if the grant money dries up as things change within the government, we've got some money we still need to invest back into the community. Wisely, yes.
Got it. And you talk about kind of these projects that aren't quite maybe sexy projects like water lines or sewer lines, but they're necessary for maintenance, right? And I guess if anyone who owns property or a house or whatever, if you're not keeping up with some of that maintenance, it does kind of bite you sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's easy. The easiest place to see it is, of course, the streets. I think if you remember about 15, 16 years ago, we redid Main Street, and there was a lot of drama over all the street construction. But it has to be ongoing because we've got streets that have no sidewalks, no curb and gutter, no flood control. So that's the easy one to see.
Sure.
And then the pipes that are in the ground. Who knows? 40s, 50s, 60s. I know some of it because I worked my way up from the bottom. And I know there's a lot of patchwork that needs to be taken out, replaced, and redone to make sure that we're supplying the water to the homes and businesses and then taking away the waste.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I guess when you're trying to attract new businesses, that's something they may be looking at, I suppose, is how new is the infrastructure or how resilient is it as if they're going to make a multi-million-dollar investment in the town.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, especially with like some of the new industries like call centers and stuff. I'm working with our electric director on a project for a $30 million project that we're trying to get funded to bring in another electric power feed into Aztec, so we'll make a loop, which will make the system much stronger. But if you're talking about attracting, like a call center or something, you've got to have that power. Right, and again, we all need water and wastewater. Nobody wants to, you know what I mean?
Right, I know what yes, sir. And that redundancy, I guess, for power is important too, right? So if one line goes down, you maybe have some others, and it's not a blackout or something in a certain part of town. Yeah,
I mean, if you live in Aztec, you know we've had one this year that was probably 4 or 5 hours long. We're having a controlled blackout this October 14th from 10 a.m. till the 15th at 6 a.m. because our power is transferred in or wheeled in through Farmington, and Farmington needs to do some work on their lines. We only have one line, so if that line is being maintained or gets hit by lightning, we could be in real trouble. It's a citywide issue. Yeah, it is. Right? Absolutely.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
I want to ask you a bit about transportation. There was a controversial issue with bus service and transportation and things like that. How do you feel about providing that to residents, providing some kind of bus service transportation for Aztec residents?
First, I'd like to say I'm on record saying I objected to us not staying with Farmington's Red Apple program. I stated that directly to the commission that this was a mistake. The amount of money that they were asking was pittance to keep that going because transportation is key. Anybody wants to develop, you're just not going to without a transportation plan Big industry's not going to look at you. So my feeling is we could court Farmington again, and hopefully we could mend some. If there is hurt feelings, we could mend that, or we could maybe do something on our own. We're not a huge community as far as land mass, and we might be able to develop our own transportation that would connect to the hubs, like the one that's at San Juan County Courthouse right now that goes back to Farmington and then maybe to Bloomfield. And another thing I've always thought about too is if we had transportation from Aztec to the Bloomfield pool over there, that'd be great. A lot of people in our community want a pool, very expensive, very difficult to take care of. If we had transportation over there, I think that's worth the money so that people could get an easy ride over to the kids specifically in the summer. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're in favor of that, or at least looking into it, and
I'm absolutely in favor of
some type of public transportation.
Absolutely. I was opposed that we got rid of the red apple. I thought it was a huge mistake.
Gotcha. Thank you for that answer to my question. We just have a few minutes remaining this morning, Jeff Blackburn, but I want to ask you a bit about some other issues that you feel are important for whether it's the city or specifically your district that you would be representing. What are some of the big issues facing District 4?
District 4, of course, I live in District 4. A couple things, the streets could be better. In District 4, there's 2 or 3 streets that are down off of the Swire Street that have never been paved. And they should be. There's an issue on Western where about 12 years ago they came in and put a sewer outfall line. Somehow they misaligned it, and those folks down there are suffering from some of the noxious smells that come out of that. There's a public works yard, and this is something I'm working on right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done. That's down there that needs to be fenced because there's hazardous materials and things that kids could access, playing, having fun, and just get into the wrong place. Those are the 3 big ones that I see. Yeah. Gotcha.
Those sound a little expensive to me. I'm not a city guy, but they sound expensive.
It's all expensive, but the thing is, Scott, it's getting more and more expensive every day. Right?
The longer you wait.
The longer you wait. Aztec right now is in good shape financially, but they cannot afford just to sit on the funds that they have in reserve, because the inflation rate is eating up the cost of what you're earning in interest. We may be making 4% in interest right now, but we're going to pay much more in 2 or 3 years to invest that money in the community. It's a balance.
I got it, because of the inflation.
Absolutely.
These projects will continue to increase in cost.
No doubt, and we saw a huge spike right after COVID. I mean, everybody did, right? And we saw projects, our arterial, East Aztec Arterial, which is now almost complete, a year ahead of schedule. We saw that project go from when it was initiated in 2012, from 12 million to now we're up at 22 million. So incredible how that money just gets eaten up if you don't invest it.
True. Almost double, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
But exciting to hear that is coming close to being completed, because that's been a long time coming for folks in Aztec, for sure.
Well, just to be clear, this is phase 2. There's still one more phase.
Right.
Yeah. But phase 2 is almost done, which would be the arterial from South 550 Aztec over to 173 that goes to the lake. Right.
Very true. Other projects that you'd like to see for the city as a whole then, beyond District 4?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the ones that we have going right now that I'm working on personally with Public Works Director is we have a new water tank going in the south end of Aztec to replace the old water tank that has some issues, and that's being announced in people's bills that there's an EPA ding on that, or an EPA check mark on that, and we're replacing that. That will be complete this fall. We're working on the water line between Bloomfield and Aztec that would benefit both entities. If the San Juan were dry or the Animas were dry, we'd be able to flow water back and forth between the communities, and that's being redone.
Gotcha. Those are very important projects,
Absolutely,
it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So very good. Before we go, for folks who want to learn more about you and your campaign or reach out to you, what's the best way to do that? Can they reach out on Facebook, or you got a website?
On Facebook, Jeff Blackburn, and then I do have a website, electblackburn.com.
Okay. Jeff Blackburn, thank you for being here.
Yeah, appreciate you.
I appreciate it very much. That's Jeff Blackburn. He is running for City Commission in Aztec from District 4, my guest here on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.